Tonight,
Good. Good. How
ask
you
me
doing?
again. Wasn't that awesome, Phil? I'll tell you, the subconscious mind is ready. I'm ready for $100,000 a month at least, right? And I'm ready to monetize my events with Top Dollar with Jason Burke. Those were amazing presentations. So today I'm going to take it to the next step, right? So we're in a different economy. So I want to talk tonight about positioning yourself in today's economy, right? How to find opportunity and grasp it. Because let me tell you, it's very competitive out there. And we'll go into that a little bit here. So I'm going to introduce myself really quick. I think I know most people here, so just in case you don't, I'm going to bore you with about my 20-minute life story. No, I'm kidding. Then I want to talk about the job market and the opportunity market today. It's very different than it was pre-pandemic. And then, why is networking important? I know a lot of folks here network quite a lot, but let me say one thing, the networking landscape has really changed, even in the past 5 years, and we'll go into that. And then how to set yourself apart. There are a lot of real estate agents out there, there are a lot of IT folks out there, there are a lot of social media marketers out there, but how do you set yourself apart? It's so important in today's world. And then some closing thoughts. So anyone doesn't know me, I am an old guy. I have 30 years in IT. I've been in IT for 30 years. And I just made a kind of a career switch this past year to go into recruiting as a managing director at Broadreach Staffing. Kind of to marry my networking I've done for many years with my technology background, and then that's what I'm doing today. Also, as everyone knows, I'm founder of Mass Professional Networking, and we're going to be celebrating our 10-year anniversary this January. I can't believe it's been 10 years we've been doing the networking. And then, I've been doing digital marketing. I do have my own business, AMC Biz Solutions, and it's been a fun ride so far. So let's get into it. So how has the market changed? Do you remember the days back when you were looking for a job and you were just constantly going like Career Builder, Monster, Indeed, Dice, and start funneling your resume to different companies, and you're like, are they ever going to call me back? And you think about the skills that you have. You may be like, you have 10, 15 years experience in what you've done, and you've really you've accomplished a lot. But nobody knows about that. Your resume is in a pile with hundreds, maybe even thousands of resumes out there. So today's world's really changed. I hate to say it's really who you know and not what you know. And I've seen this over and over and over in a landscape as a recruiter the past few months. It's really a networking approach. Jobs are happening, opportunities, even new businesses are happening through connections. You can be the best person in the world. And I'm going to leave one other thought. All right. So I used to work for Nokia, right, back way back. And there was a thing called iPhone that came out, right? Nokia is a much better phone. I hate to say this, Apple. Sorry, Steve Jobs. I mean to say that. But, Apple was great at marketing. They made the connections out there to be able to get, take Apple to the next level where it's pretty much a $1 trillion company today. So it's really who you know. Another way the world has changed today is soft skills. And I'm going to tell you that, I don't know if anyone here is in technology. It's really, so technology, you could be a full stack developer. We talked to Marissa about this earlier. And, you could have different skill sets, but if you do not know how to talk to people or communicate and have dialogue and conversations with them, you're not going to get very far today. You could be the smartest person in the world. And I joke about software developers. They're in the back room with pizza boxes this high, and, they don't know how to talk to people. And I've interviewed some software developers, and they were probably awesome, but I had no idea that they were awesome. So the soft skills are very important to build on it, be that extrovert. Job boards. When we talk about job boards a little bit, it's like the landline. Does anyone still have a landline in their house? I'm embarrassed. I still have a landline. But you know what? The job boards are the same thing today. Really, job boards don't work. And I'm just giving you some advice as a recruiter that it's like a never land. It's like that black hole that your resume, you throw it in the resume and it comes out on the other side of the world. It really does not work. The interview approach has changed. I'm going to give you a very quick tip on interviewing right here. Something to remember. Remember, you're always interviewing them. They're not interviewing you. So what do I mean by that? You gotta be their problem solver. You have to solve their problems. Ask them what their pain is, and then offer them a solution. And let me tell you one thing right now. If you do that in your interview, especially with the hiring manager, you're gonna make it to the next round. But you just made that person's life a lot easier. So always their interview approach should be as a problem solver. We're in an online world, right? So another thing, I know we were in Zoom land for 2 years, right? Phil alluded to that, right? He wears a nice suit. And, you still have to dress to impress, no matter if you're in person or you're online. If you're meeting with somebody important that's going to take yourself to the next level, guys, put a jacket on, or at least a collared shirt. I've had some people with some dude that looked like he just cut his lawn. And I was like, you know what? He was off my list. I'm going to be honest with you. He was probably, the smartest guy and probably really knew his stuff. But they just didn't, that's not impressing me when you're wearing a t-shirt with a hole in it and your hair's all over the place. Dress to impress. Very important. And recruiters, I'm going to speak about recruiters, my little blurb about that. We do save time and money. For your company looking for talent, we're going to save a lot of money and a lot of time, a lot of aggravation, because it's a tough market out there, especially if you're trying to hire. We hear this all the time out there that we can't find talent. We just can't find people. And, and even in retail up to technology, legal, finance, they're just not finding the right people. Sometimes you think it's a talent gap, but really in reality, they're just not reaching the right talent. And that's where, recruiters or any network, through your network, really helps there. And the job boards are not the answer. So I'm going to talk a little about networking. This is my favorite topic. Everyone knows that, right? I can't believe I'm up here. If this was 15 years ago, I would have been in that back room in a closet crying. But you know what? Networking really changed me. Let me give you a very quick 27-minute story. All right, so I was at Staples back in 2007, and I get this email from Northeastern University about a networking event. I was like, networking? I was an IT guy, so I was like, oh, is this some gadgets I gotta plug in? I didn't even realize that it was, a place to get people, together and entrepreneurs. And I went to this networking event, and it totally changed my whole direction. We talk about subconscious mind and your thought process. Networking changed. Everybody was happy. They were successful. And I was like, no, this is a pretty good concept. Fast forward 2013, I started my own group. That's how I started Mass Professional Networking, because I love networking so much. But so, why is networking great? It helps you land your opportunity. Remember we talked about it's who you know, not what you know. Networking helps you land that next opportunity. You could find the career success ladder. Why is that? I'll give you a great example of this. A guy I know knew the senior vice president at MathWorks. I would say the company, right? They were friends. They golfed together. His son was a up-and-coming computer programmer. The father talked to his friend, the senior vice president, about his son. His son got promoted. Probably didn't even know anything about it, what he was doing. But again, it goes back to when you're networking and I know a guy or I know a girl, it's going to help you climb the career ladder, or if you're in a business, it's going to help you get to the next level because you're going to know people. Imagine you travel from city to city. Oh, I know someone in New York. I know somebody in Washington, D.C. I know somebody in Atlanta. That's where networking gets you. It's an investment, long-term investment. Why is that? Do you ever go to an event and some guy's like this with cards, throwing cards at you? It's like, here's my card. Here's my card, right? They think it's a transaction. Like, I'm going to get a sale tonight. In reality, networking is not that. What networking really is building relationships. Know, like, trust, and care. Remember those 4 words. You got to know me. You got to like me. I hope you like me. Right? You got to trust me to do business with you. And then you got to care about me. Likewise, the other way around. So it's all about relationship building. And I always say people are so positive. Look at the smiles in this room tonight. everybody is smiling. And that's what's great about going to an event. Everybody's there to help you and be positive. So you can build, what it does in summary with networking, it builds your confidence, right? It expands your sphere of influence. My wife calls me the mayor. It's like we go out to dinner. We went to dinner the other night, and I knew 2 people there from my events. She's like, geez, do you not know anybody? Can we go to like Vermont where you don't know anyone? You know, and I think that's what it happens is when you start building this, like Phil, I saw Phil at Tech Jam. We probably saw a few people we knew, and that's the great thing. You go to an event, oh, I know Jeff, I know Phil, right? And it's great, it builds your sphere of influence. It's so important there. And you meet people you normally don't meet. If you were sitting home tonight, you know, Phil, you wouldn't have met Amy. I think you know each other, but you know, you may meet Amy, or Marissa may meet Jason, that you wouldn't even know each other existed, and you may do business together, or get a job, so it's important there. So you have any questions on that so far? I know I talked pretty quickly.
Yeah, or even, it isn't so much who that person is, but if I know somebody, I'm making that introduction, and I might know that person who knows someone, so you could be 2 degrees away through an introduction.
Yep.
And you're not even thinking of that. You're just thinking of that person, the old style transaction. So
that's a great point. So I use LinkedIn like this a lot. Second level connections are more important than first level connections. Like Phil may know somebody I would like to meet. Phil does an introduction for me. So that's the important, think of that perspective. So how do you set yourself apart from others? How do you become that red stick figure versus all the other orange ones or green ones, right? Right? Your LinkedIn profile tells your story. Do not have a blank LinkedIn profile. Please sell your story. If I look at your LinkedIn profile and it's blank, just says your job and nothing else, that's like a blank piece of paper. And as a recruiter, that's my first introduction to you is your LinkedIn profile. Remember, I don't have your resumes, right? I don't know anything about you. I know you by your LinkedIn profile, your timeline, your picture, your headline. I have a whole presentation on LinkedIn profiles that I'll share with you if you like. But it's really important to do that. Yes, Phil?
And I should add too, that your headline should not be your job title.
Not should be a job title.
Except with maybe very few exceptions.
Exactly. That's a awesome tip. Because you have to use keywords that describe you. Your LinkedIn profile should not be about the company you work for. It should be about you. Very important. For the introverts in the room that were in the back room eating pizza, you have to become an extrovert today. I hate that. I hate it. I was an introvert. You know, now I'm an extrovert. I'm too much of an extrovert. But you have to be able to get out there and remember, this is a big tip. Everybody's there for the same reason. We're all here for the same reason tonight, to meet each other, help each other. So if you think from that perspective, don't be shy. You know, I'll tell you, like, it's amazing. I'll talk about, like, meet my wife, most beautiful girl I've ever met. Pre-2000, you know, pre-1992, I would have never thought of meeting a girl like my wife, you know. But, you know, I became that extrovert. I saw her, I met her, I say, hey, wanna go out with me? Sure. You know? And that's the thing. You got to build your confidence in yourself to be an extrovert. And that goes along with being a salesperson. How many people here hate sales? Some people hate sales, right? But you're always...
I used to.
You used to.
I learned how it's service. When you think of it as service, see what we think.
Yeah.
If you think of it as service, how can you serve someone unless you help them see what they don't see?
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. You're always selling yourself. Again, when you're interviewing for a job, you're trying to get some funding for a business, you're trying to sell events, you're trying to do a lot of stuff. Again, asking your future wife to go out with you, you're selling yourself. I had to comb my hair that day. I had to put a nice shirt on, right? You know, it's ironic. Probably, you know, she would never went out with me. So you're always selling yourself. So if you ever say you hate sales, you have to like sales. Again, I did a career shift this year. I was more in corporate IT. Now I'm matching talent to opportunity. It's sales. Let me tell you. And you have to learn quick that you have to like sales. Everybody's got to like sales. A couple of last tips, reading inspirational books and leadership books. I'm reading this book called Extreme Ownership. Is it Jocko, the guy, the war guy from Desert Storm? Extreme Leadership right now. It tells you how to lead under, we'll say, insane conditions, right? So you always want to be reading. I like to read a book a month on average. I don't watch TV at all. I don't even know what's the news these days. What's going on? I have no idea.
Probably
I read.
better for it.
What's that?
Probably better for it.
Exactly. So, like I always say, stuff that Phil's got some great books out here. Check them out. I mean, I'll tell you, getting some good blurbs from out of books is awesome. And then last but not least, hang with that right crowd. This goes along with what Phil is saying. You have to hang out with people that lift you up, and that's huge. If you hang out with people that are like blah 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 blah, you're gonna become blah 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 blah. Right. All right. And then closing thoughts. We're going in for a landing here. I have a group called the Talent Opportunity Connector on LinkedIn and Facebook. Join it. I post new opportunities, employment trends, tips, and all that. And I think I'm up to almost 300 people on LinkedIn. We're getting there. It's like a grassroots approach here. Of course, Mass Professional Networking. I think everyone here is mostly in the group. But tell your friends, join the groups. We got events every month. We have an event coming up in October in Boston, October 25th. And then, of course, one last question, everybody. Who like in networks and then gets a job and then they go away? Who's guilty of that? Nobody? Okay, it's okay. Network harder than ever. If you get a job, you should even network more after you get that job, because you never know. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself and your family. And you never know. This economy, I don't even go into this economy too much. It's the most competitive economy I've ever seen. And it's a very good economy. And this is how to connect with me. I think you have to connect with me, DeSocio on LinkedIn. My email, my Broadreach email's there, broadreach.io, and my business email, and that's my blog, DeSocialConnector.com. Definitely check that out. And I'll send these slides to everybody after this. Phil?
Yeah, just also like, we're working on a special project together, so it isn't just about locking into one source of income. It's like if you're investing, you diversify your investments. How do you diversify and have time work for you? Because we're talking on a project how we have multiple streams of income. So if one stream is working the other, and we've got a really great project working on, so that way you don't stop networking, you're always looking to grow in other ways too.
That's a great point. So what Phil was alluding to is, what you need to do when you network, you're getting ideas, and the whole idea is to translate those ideas into multiple streams of income, multiple projects, because again, I'm gonna leave this with this, is you gotta take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself and position yourself for success through the networking approach. And that's where I'll leave it. So any quick questions before we call it off?
More than a question, I've been working for, I will say, 7 years. And I stopped working for about 2 years, and then I came back.
Yep.
And it's amazing how people remember you, and who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
And actually, I have getting more businesses now that I'm restart networking and everything just because they remember what I did. And definitely 100% agree, secondary connections are more powerful than first.
Yeah, definitely.
Because when we get referrals, it's like, oh, somebody else trusts this person.
Yep.
So it's more direct.
Yep.
It is, for us, has been amazing.
Yes, it's all about
Network is our,
trust.
like, this is where we're going. So.
Awesome. Great. All right, two more questions.